When was the last time you took a leap of faith, trusting that everything is going to work out? Do you crave growth, or are you merely content with the status quo? If you want more out of your life, out of your career, and out of your relationships, you are in the right place. Take the leap and discover how to create a life by design rather than living it by default. Real success starts with you. Now here's your host, Colleen Biggs.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Take the Leap. I am your host, Colleen Biggs, and today we are going to talk all about, would you just start your business already? Today is going to be a single episode with just me, and I am going to be explaining to you a little bit about my journey, but how you can easily start your own business. I've had a lot of questions from potential clients lately. A lot of emails have come into me from all of our loyal listeners. Thank you so much for being a loyal listener. So today I want to address that. I really want to address that subject because it's coming up a lot. But before I do, I want to thank our sponsor for today's show, BizBolster Web Solutions. I love BizBolster Web Solutions. They work on my SEO and my website and work with a lot of coaches, so many people in the industry. They work with franchises. So imagine if you increase the visits to your website to have a consistent flow of new business. BizBolster Web Solutions designs websites and sets up tools that not only attract new prospects, but also starts building the know, like, and trust factor for those prospects when they land on your website. Through exceptional websites and targeted SEO, our clients are not only found online, but are also able to convey their area of expertise as well as the what's in it for me to their prospects. Imagine if it was that easy for you to increase sales for your business by driving more traffic to your website. Well, it is. So be sure to visit BizBolster Web Solutions at bizbolster.com to download your free SEO guide and schedule your discovery session today. I know that they have another webinar that they have coming up, so you're going to want to connect with them on that as well. So today we're talking about, oh my gosh, would you just start your business already? And many of you know my story. I came from corporate America and I was scared, just like you. If you're in corporate America, I was just like you, no different when I decided to step out of corporate America. I was scared. I didn't know how I was going to earn money. I've had friends of mine say, I can't leave corporate America. I'm not you. I have bills I have to pay. I have kids I have to support. Well, the interesting thing is I did wait until my children were grown when I left corporate America, but that was not my plan. It had nothing to do with the plan. I wasn't even planning on leaving corporate America when my kids were being raised. It really wasn't until about the last, few years. I would say 2017 to 2019, I was doing so much internal work on myself for personal development. I needed to figure out what was my why. Why am I even here on this earth? What is my purpose? What am I supposed to be doing? What am I good at? What lights me up? What is my passion? So I read books, everything that you're doing right now. I read books. I listened to podcasts. I went to seminars. I needed to figure out what it was that I wanted to do. And I started building like this self-esteem and looking at myself and realizing that what I was doing in that moment wasn't fulfilling me completely. That I don't mean this to sound disrespectful to corporate America, but I felt trapped. I felt trapped like in this box. Do you feel trapped right now? Do you feel trapped in this box that you feel like you've got so much more to offer the world, but you're not able to do that in your position you're in right now? Now, I'm only talking to those currently that are like, man, I really want to start my own business. I just don't know how to do it. And yes, I feel that way. For those of you that love your job and you are all about the W-2, good for you. I mean, I have to tell you that what works for you works for you. And I celebrate that you know what works for you. That's what I was trying to figure out. The W-2 wasn't working for me anymore. It was just security of having the money, but money was nothing to me at that point. I didn't care about making a W-2 paycheck. I wanted to know what more could I do in the world. How could I make more money without it just being a regular 4% raise or whatever it was that they gave you? How is it that people could generate so much money? As entrepreneurs, I was curious. So if you're that person that feels like you're kind of stuck in this box right now and you want to do more, my suggestion to you is one, get started in action. The number one thing we need to do when we want something is to make a plan. And when you get in action, the universe has this law, and the law of attraction is when you put it out there, it must draw that attraction to you. Whether you believe it or not, the law is the law. So when you start in action and you say, I'll use something from Mel Robbins' book. She just talked about the reticular activation system. What I love about that is it's something you all know every day. I've said it to my clients 1,000 times in the last, 20 years, which is, you see this car on the road, and it's, I'll use one that I saw. I saw a Jeep pickup truck. I was like, what the heck? I've never seen one of those before. I see this Jeep pickup truck and I'm like, that's something new. I told my husband about it. Now, all of a sudden, this information is being fed through my RAS, is what they call it. Because now I've seen it. I know it, right? Our brain can only process so much information in a day. So little bits of information gets through, and all the other stuff that doesn't matter just gets pushed away. How many of you realize this? You probably are like, yeah, shaking your head, Colleen. I know that. Yes, that's exactly what happens to me. Do you know the next day, the day after that, ongoing, I started seeing those Jeep pickup trucks everywhere, because now my brain lit up to say, recognize these vehicles everywhere. But by the way, they were still on the road everywhere. I just didn't see them everywhere before because I wasn't paying attention. So when you start paying attention to your why, to your passion, to your growth, then you will grow, because where we drive our energy is where we thrive. So if you are driving your energy, you will thrive in those areas. So that's number one. The second thing that I want you to be aware of is that when you decide to take action on that. So the first thing I did when I wanted to start a business was I started talking to other people about it. I started bringing it up and making it a public conversation and asking questions. I wanted to get more information about starting that business. Now, I have been in the business building, launching business for over 22 years. It's what I do. I've helped, entrepreneurs and CEOs start and launch businesses for 20 some years. So I know the basics, meaning all the things you have to do to get a business launched. What I was curious at was, what was I going to do? Those were the questions I was asking people. I wanted to know, when they thought of me, because they were my friends, what was I good at? What did they see that I was skilled at? What did I see maybe that was a blind spot that I wasn't seeing for myself? So I did some exercises, some why exercises with some of my friends. I did some of those things to really discover who I was from the eyes of through other people. And then once I did that, I started realizing that I am really good at creating community, that I've been doing it in families. I had been doing it in physical communities. I had been doing it through working out. No matter what, I created communities at work. I was a community creator. So I had decided that I wanted to create a community where female entrepreneurs and women in corporate America could come together. They could collaborate, they could network, but I wanted to put a spin on it, because the number one thing for me in business was, if you're launching a business, you have to get yourself out there to be seen, to be heard, to be visible. It's not a build it and they will come. It doesn't happen, right? Any business that you see when you drive down the road has a sign. So that's the number one way that they're advertising themselves. The second way is maybe you get something in the mail, right? Direct mail. You receive a postcard to tell you that a new dentist office just opened for pediatrics in your area, right? I remember there was one just opened up in my area. And then they might sponsor an event in your community. And then you might get a phone call, or you might get an email from them if you subscribe to something at a booth or whatever it might be. So what I knew for sure was the best businesses that I thought we're going to kill it and knock it dead, and they always do, are the ones that market themselves and get themselves out there. So I knew that female entrepreneurs had to market themselves. They had to be seen, be heard, and be visible. So in creating this community, I wanted to create platforms for them to be able to be seen, be heard, and be visible. So that started with a live radio show, and it started with physical lunches that they could buy tickets to and come. And we had speakers. I had a magazine. I had a website. I had a newsletter that I would spotlight my members in every single week. And then I started adding more platforms as the pandemic hit. And we started doing live interviews. And we did those on Facebook. We did them live on LinkedIn. Then we started doing them live on different days on YouTube. And then we started doing master classes, and the members started teaching master classes. So it just organically grew, but I did not think about all of those things when I started my business. And that is what holds us back. It's kind of that paralyzation, because we think, oh, I don't know if I can. We envision this big business that we want to build, and then we get paralyzed because it's Mount Everest. And you're like, well, I've never climbed Mount Everest before. I haven't climbed Mount Everest before. I haven't even climbed Machu Picchu, which, by the way, it's on my bucket list of things to do. I haven't climbed it either. And so when you look at something that's scary that you're not skilled at, and you've not done it, and it just looks like this massive undertaking, you think to yourself, what the heck? How am I going to do that? And here's the key to that. You're not going to do it all at once. You're going to take it day by day. So let's just use Mount Everest as an example. You show up at point A, and they tell you what clothes to wear, what to pack, and what to be ready for. They give you the tools that you need. You get from point A to point B. Maybe that takes a day. And then they tell you what you need to know for the second day or the third day. And then you have the tools that you need for that. And they tell you what proper rest to get. And then before you know it, you look back a week later, and you're 3/4 from the top. And you look down and you think to yourself, how did I ever get here? You got there because you just kept moving. You were in action. You took the first step, and then you were brave enough and courageous to take the second step, and then the third step, and then the fourth step. I mean, that's why I created this community, because it is very difficult to be isolated like we are today and not be able to be out there with other people building your business. So collaboration is key. Networking is key. Having support like business masterminds are key. It's why I've created masterminds for women to be able to build their businesses. And this is about supporting one another, right? So that's my jam. But when I jumped out of corporate America, and let me tell you, I leaped. It was like, okay, this is going to be my last day. They wanted me to stay to make sure I could get everything, disseminated to all 5 people that needed to take over my position. And when I finally did leave the company in July of 2019, I was hitting the ground running. Like even months before that, I had started my community and was starting to travel. And I knew I needed to generate income. And here's the beautiful part about generating income that I want you to hear. The income that you're going to generate exists today. Meaning it is out there, and someone possesses the income that they're going to give you to pay for that service or that product. It already exists. Okay. Here's the next part. When you create this product or service, then you generate that income. So you create something out of thin air, meaning it doesn't even exist. That's that saying that says, you can pull money out of thin air. That's what entrepreneurs do. We create products, we create services, we provide a service that is a problem for our ideal client. We give them the solution so that they can solve their problem. So they're happy to spend the money on that product or service. For instance, if you are someone who struggles from lower back pain, and you need inserts for your shoes, the company that created shoe inserts or orthopedics, right, for your shoes, so that it could lower the impact on your back so that you do not have lower back pain anymore. This company solved your problem. I am not a participant or a client for those orthopedics that are in the shoes because I don't suffer from lower back pain. So the beautiful part is when you start talking about the problem you solve and how you solve it, you automatically weed out the people that are not your clients. Now you're attracting just your ideal clients to you. So Plan number one, you have to have the courage to want it so bad that you will do whatever it takes to get it. I was prepared to sell my house, live in an apartment, do whatever I needed to do to make sure my bills were paid so that I could do this business. And when my back was up against the wall and I needed to generate income, I found ways to do it. And you're not always going to generate it through the products and services that you think are the way you're going to generate it. For example, I was a personal trainer and had been for a few years. I was teaching classes. I had individual clients. So that was one of the ways I generated income when I left corporate America. I did some contract work with other corporations. I did some side coaching. I did some marketing. I had been business consulting for 20 years already. And so when I started this community, I abandoned all of my skill sets that I had. And instead of coming right out into as being an entrepreneur, as a business consultant, I started utilizing some of my other skills, which was the wrong thing to do. I'm just sharing with you right now, the wrong thing to do. For some reason, women and men, they'll leave corporate America to start a new business and they forget all of the credibility that they have for years and years and years of everything they've done. So that comes with you, kind of like the schooling that you've done in different places when you're trying to get a degree, you add it all up. All of this knowledge, experience, and skill sets come with you, and you get to build that business based on that. So remember that you're not a brand new in the industry. You've been doing it for years. I'm not a brand new coach or brand new business consultant. I've been doing this for 22 years. So all of that experience, I should have just brought with me. And the very first day I became an entrepreneur, then I should have just become a business consultant right there immediately. But I abandoned it to build this community, which hindsight's 2020, it doesn't even matter. I'm glad I did it, but I'm giving you some shortcuts, right? You can start as an entrepreneur right away without even having an LLC. You can just be an independent contractor. But I do want you to do the things the right way. So if you are going to start a business, the second thing you should do is file for a corporation, file for an LLC online. You can go to your state, file it very easily online. There's very small fees to do that. You don't have to use third-party companies that charge an astronomical amount of money to file for you. And you can get that filed right away. It'll take you 20 minutes online to do that. So simple step to take. The next step is, once you have your LLC, file for a tax ID number, an EIN number, so you can open up a business bank account. This will allow you to start generating the income and building the business credit that you need to build. So you have some equity for your company, a little bit of working capital, so you can start utilizing that in building your business. And the last piece on this is please, please, please surround yourself with people that are going to support you, whether that be a business coach, whether that be a community or a tribe, a networking tribe. There's so many of them out there. Surround yourself with people that are doing what you're doing. Surround yourself with people that are building businesses, that are entrepreneurs, so you can tap into their experience and get their feedback, and stay in a tribe, because building a business in a tribe is so much easier than being out on your own and trying to build your business on your own. It's very difficult to not have the feedback, to not have the direction, to not have the tools for how you need to build your business. So I'd like you to think about that. But, it just takes you wanting to do it. You have to have the belief in yourself so clear that you're going to be able to do this, and the courage to do it. That's all where it starts. I get you're scared. So was I. But what was on the other side for me was so much greater for me to do this for myself than where I was at that moment. And that was greater for me. I didn't know how I was going to do it. I didn't know how much money I was going to be able to make. In fact, when they asked me to do a live radio show in February of 2019, I laughed at them, pushed the contract back across the table and said, I have no idea how to host a live radio show. And they said, well, we have 3.1 million listeners and 85% of them are women. I said, where do I sign? I didn't know how to be a podcaster. I didn't know how to be a radio show host, but I just learned it over time. I said, okay, I'm going to do this. And I took action. I started listening to more and more and more podcasts to figure out how do they do this? How did the host do it? I started reading on what questions should I ask my guests. I had no idea what to do. No idea what subjects to talk on, but I just decided I was going to take the leap and do it. And then I would figure it out later. And I promise you, there hasn't been one person that I know of that's ever started a business in my tribe or anyone I've ever worked with that wasn't a little sick to their stomach taking the leap. But after they took the leap and they were energized and excited and started down the path of their purpose and releasing their products and services and building their business and being in action, the universe opens up and starts dragging and attracting all of those things to them, and doors start opening and opportunities start flowing. I know it doesn't seem like it right now, but if you have an idea inside of you, and you have something that you want to do, and it's been nagging at you, and you're hearing me say this today, it's because you were meant to hear it, that you need to act on this. And of course, we will be here to support you the entire way of your journey. The LEAP community is one of the best business building communities out there at such a low price for you to be able to get the visibility that you need, the connections that you need, the networking that you need. So make sure you be on the lookout for a lot of our offers that we're going to have coming up at on ColleenBiggs.net. So go to my website, ColleenBiggs.net. You can obviously enroll to be in the newsletter. You can connect with me there. That's one of the best ways to connect with us, or info@ColleenBiggs.net. Send me an email. I want to know what your idea is. What is your idea? What have you been waiting on? I offer a 40-minute coaching call to anyone that has an idea. They have something in their businesses and they're just not seeing it. Maybe they're leaving money on the table. They need some clarity in their message on how to talk to their ideal customers, whatever it might be. Utilize this offer that I'm giving you today, because gosh dang it, would you just do it? Just take the leap, take the plunge. I know it seems scary today, but I promise you this. You are meant to do something specific on this earth. And if you decide to bypass that, there are people out there today that will never be able to transform, be able to grow, be able to heal, be able to solve their problem because you chose not to live your purpose. Imagine that. If you don't make the choice. I was at a business mastermind last week in Puerto Vallarta, and every single woman sitting at that table was there because I decided to leave corporate America. Gave me the chills. I know that sounds crazy, but I never would have left corporate America. I never would have met the women that hosted the retreat who had hired me a year ago to be their business coach, who, because of my community that I started, they came to one of my retreats in my community, which pushed them through to starting this retreat and then it coming to fruition through business coaching. And then we were all sitting there because of that. And if I never would have left corporate America, those women's lives that week never would have been transformed. So the ripple effect is so severe and is such a greater impact than you can ever imagine. There are people waiting, praying for you today, for you to make the decision and be courageous to step into what you were meant to do and why you're here on this earth. So I hope that resonates with you today. And I want to thank each one of you for hanging in there with me, listening to my rants and feeling my passion through the microphone, because as an entrepreneur, I'm thankful every single day for the freedom that I have to be able to make the impact that I do. And for you, I just want you to remember, you're the only you that's ever been. You're the only you that will ever be. This is your time. So take the leap. And until next time, don't forget, be you and be strong. See you then. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you for joining us on this journey of self-discovery, where you learned the tools to create a life by design. Remember, you are the only you there is, and you are the only you that will ever be. Be you and be strong, because you are brilliant. and the world needs you at your best. We cannot wait for you to join us again next time.